Hi everybody, today I'm going to show you how to set some things up on Tyler as well as where you can find help and how to enable the primary grade scale if you're going to use that. So we're starting off on the Tyler homepage where you log in, and as you learn Tyler and as you begin playing with it, I really recommend that you log into the training site. You can do this in two ways. You can go up to the address bar up here, and right after the DP for displays, place your cursor after the P, type in train, and then make sure you hit enter so that the page refreshes. If you don't remember this, you can also go to our professional development Google site. There's a Tyler tab right here, and if you go into the how-to documents, there's a link right here to the Tyler training site. This is also a great resource for other how-to documents. All of the documents created by Tyler have screenshots with step-by-step instructions, and this is actually how I taught myself Tyler. So it's a really great way to log into the train site, use these documents, and teach yourself how to do different steps within the gradebook. So heading back to Tyler, once you're in that train site, make sure that train is in the address bar. You're going to log in with your regular address, or username and password, I should say. When you get into your landing page, as I call it, you can see up here in the left-hand corner that there's a red training. This is really important. It lets you know that you're in the actual training site and not your real gradebook, so you can play around and learn how to do things. But what you want to keep in mind is that when you're ready to actually enter scores and assignments, you need to log out of this training site and log into the real site. You can't transfer grades back and forth, so you'll waste some time if you do it in the training site when you're actually meaning to do it in your real gradebook. This can get confusing. I mention this because this training site looks exactly like your gradebook. It'll have your students in here. It's lists your classes, so it looks identical. So once you're ready to go into the gradebook, you'll see here I have all of my classes that are listed here, and you just click on any of these gradebooks for the corresponding class. So if I wanted to go into language arts, I'd click that one. So once I get into my gradebook, I'll see my list of students on the left hand side. Yes, I am the teacher of one of the Bulls players. And you can also see where there are different columns identifying different pieces of information. So the first thing I'm going to show you how to do is how to change what you see. The way that you're going to do that is you're going to go over to this tab, select view, click on that, and this is where you can customize what your page looks like in your gradebook. This does update for all of your classes. Some things you can do for all of your classes all at once, some you do class by class, which I'll show you in a few minutes, but this one will change all of your classes. These first three drop downs and these two buttons are pretty much defaulted for you. You want to see the current trimester and it defaults to that. Sorting your assignments, for those of you that have kept a paper gradebook, normally we know that when you enter in your assignments, you go from left to right in chronological order, with the oldest assignments being from the very beginning of the trimester on the left to the newest being on the right. You can still do that, and you just will leave it set as due date. If you want to reverse that, which I think is really nice, that everything is still in chronological order, but newest will be on the left and oldest will be on the right. So the newest assignments will be next to the students' names. You click reverse order. If you prefer to have your assignments sorted by type and sequence, meaning all of your classwork is chunked together, all the quizzes are chunked together, all of the tests, and so forth, you'd select by type and sequence. For each assignment, you want to see the original score, meaning if a student received a 10 out of 10, you want to see that they received that 10. I like seeing the special mark. The special mark means that you can identify an assignment as being late or exempt. Maybe the student was absent. I like seeing these next to the students' names, so I enable that. You do have the ability to have special marks affect students' scores. So let's say a student turned in something late. If you use the special mark of late, you could have it set so that it automatically deducts a certain amount of points. I don't like doing that. I'm a control freak and I like being in charge of the score. So if I give a student an 8 out of 10, I want the student to get an 8 out of 10. So I don't check this because I don't have my special marks take any points off. You can have it show active students and show withdrawn students as well. You can decide how you want to sort them. Student name means it's alphabetical. You could put them in your own sequence if you wanted. I haven't really come across any good reason to do that. I like it alphabetical. One thing that I really like, the information columns that pop up are special ed status. I definitely want to see if there's a student in my classroom with an IEP. It's a great reminder. We are talking with Tyler about adding an ELL status, so hopefully we'll have that soon. If you teach multiple grade levels, like if you have, if you're a resource teacher or a multi-age teacher and you have different grade levels of students in your classroom, you might want to enable this. It'll tell you what grade levels they are. Special grade scale. I don't think you need to see this. You might want to enable this if you're using the primary grade scale, but I don't think you need to check that. I definitely like to see how often students are absent. And you could also do tardies. And the active drop withdraw status, we probably don't really need to see that. This final piece, if you have this selection down here, term means trimester. So you want to see their trimester grade. And we don't use semester, so you really don't need to see a semester grade either. Once you're done setting all of this up, you want to make sure that you click Update Display in the green here. And remember, this is in the training book. So if you're doing this in train, you're going to have to do this in your real grade book. But you'll now see that if these two students that are in my class had been absent, those will be listed right here. It says no for IEP. And you'll see right here that their overall term 3 score is there. You'll also notice this one assignment right here. It shows their score, so the points possible that the points possible is up here, but then that they received 10 out of 10. And if they had received a special mark like exempt or so forth, it would be in that column. So that's what I mean by I like to see it right next to the student's score. The next thing I want to talk about is checking your rosters. So you definitely want to make sure that you check your rosters the first time you go into gradebook. I would recommend doing this at the beginning of each trimester as well. Sometimes there's some rescheduling for different reasons. This is also where I'm going to address flexible grouping. I know a lot of people and teachers in elementary schools flexibly group, and if you do this at the end of the trimester, so let's say we have 3 trimesters and you and your teaching partner, your grade level colleague, switch students at the end of each trimester based on data, that's not a problem for Tyler. You can actually have your secretary re-roster the students into your class or your colleague's class, and then you can record the grades yourself within Tyler. If you flexibly group and you change groups more often than that, then you're going to need to come to a decision who's responsible for recording their grades in Tyler. Maybe just keeping the student rostered to the classroom teacher makes the most sense, and then you'll have to create some type of communication plan, whether you communicate through email or during your collaboration time to give each other the grades that need to be recorded for those students in Tyler. The final thing I'm going to show you in part 1 of our video is how to enable the primary grade scale. You'll see here that I've already done that for this class. You know, our students in grades 3 through 8 receive A, B, C, D, and our primary students in K2 receive EX, ME, AP, and so forth. So you'll see here that the primary grade scale is popping up on the screen so that you know what that actual grade scale is. And in order to enable it, you're going to go up to this Actions menu, click on that, and you'll see the 4th one down says Change Default Grade Scale. So it's defaulted to the traditional ABCDU. If you want to enable the primary grading scale, you just click that blue play button next to it, and it'll use the grade scale for the primary students. What's great about this is that this is by class. So remember when I was in the select view screen, I said that changes all of your classes. Luckily, the primary grading scale, or the grading scales, you can change by class, which is great for our specials teachers, you know, gym, art, who teach K5. So you can enable the primary grading scale for the K2 students, but you can leave it as the default one for the 3-5 students. So that way, you know, as you enter in their scores, the total score that adds up is using the appropriate grading scale. These are the grades that transfer into the report card. So when at the end of the trimester, if I'm ready to do report cards and this was their current grade, these two students, the 80 and the 85, would transfer directly into the report cards. But you can change these grades. If I decide that I want to bump the student up, if I want to give a plus or minus in the ABCD scale, I can do that. So you can always change the grades in the report card. You cannot change them in this column right here. I can't click in here and bump her up or bump him up and bump her up. This score right here is totally dependent upon these assignments, but you can change it in the report cards. So that's it for this video. If you want to learn how to add an assignment and get more of the basic understandings of Tyler, please watch the second video, and I hope you found this helpful. If you have any questions, please always feel free to contact a member of Instructional Services. Thanks.